Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting the webinar in just a few minutes here. Just wanted to make sure that we can do a quick sound check. If you cannot hear me, then I guess you won't know that I'm talking. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat. So you can go ahead and I can change what I need to on my end. Thank you, John. Good morning. Hello, everyone. How are you? It's wonderful to see so many names popping up in the chat box. Thank you for letting us know who you are and where you're calling in from. My name is Hillary Molina. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to the very first alumni webinar series, State of the University with President Katrina Rogers and special guests. So I'd like to share with you how this webinar will work today. This is a webinar and not a meeting, which means that your camera and your microphone will not be on. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the content. But please know that the chat function is open, and I'm seeing people talk back and forth here, which is fantastic. We will be taking questions towards the end of the webinar. Please note that we'll be using the Q&A function, which is either at the top or bottom of your screen. And we look forward to hearing from you throughout the presentation. So we have a couple of items to go over today. I'm really excited for what we have to share with you. We have all sorts of alumni opportunities that may be new to you, or just a reminder of the opportunities that you have in this next year. I'd like to share with you some of the new benefits of the Alumni Association. Next, we'll have an update on the applications for the Institute for Social Innovation Fellows Program, followed by the Kipnis Endowment Fund for Social Innovation for 2020. We'll have an update, a giving update on our fundraising, followed by the State of the University with President Rogers. And for those of you that have your screens on, if you look at the bottom right, you'll see if you have any questions, you'll see what the button looks like for the Q&A function. And if you want to chat with attendees and chat with the panelists at all, feel free to go ahead and use that chat function. So let's go ahead and get started. The most exciting thing for me in alumni relations in this last year, as we've been celebrating the 45th anniversary in 2019, is we had the launch of the very first Alumni Association. This is exciting because we're able to offer alumni benefits that we haven't been able to offer before, or what we've been able to offer before is even more dynamic and possible in terms of the alumni directory. You're able to search by region. You're able to search by class year, program. You can look at other users that have similar interests of yours if you fill in your profile. So please take advantage of this. This is free. And you can check all of this information out at alumni.fielding.edu. Now, in order to see other people's profiles and able to connect with other alums, you do need to sign up and have your profile set up on the site and authorized your identity to make sure that we're just keeping alumni in this site. This is open to students and faculty too, so you'll notice that there's quite a few more people on the site than just alumni, and this is the place to find everything that's going on. Next of which, there's so many different ways to search alumni, different ways to check out what events are going on, as well as news. At the top left of your screen, you can see that you can find alumni by interest. So for example, if you put down that you're interested in sustainability, you type in that word, anybody else that is interested in sustainability, you'll be able to find them. And you're able to fill in your own interests too. So please take advantage of this brand new resource we're excited about. You also can take a look at everything that's going on in event-wise across the university. Last year, like I said, we celebrated 45 gatherings across the globe, but when I did a count, at the end of the year, we had 98 events listed on the alumni website, and that is hands down the most that we've had shared, at least from the alumni relations side. So please visit alumni.fielding.edu and check out our events. You'll also be able to find news, which includes opportunities for alumni. Dr. Charles McClintock will talk a little bit more about where to find that information, but news that's coming up, take advantage of that as well. And what else do I have for you? We also have benefits, so many brand new benefits when you sign up. With membership, and there's a free membership for alums, we also have a couple of extra membership levels if you're interested in the extended alumni library, but we have some fantastic offerings, including tickets at work, which is travel and entertainment discounts, discounts on Dell computers. We make sure that you get Zoom access. You can get discounts on AAA. But the one part that we're really thrilled about is the alumni library. You'll see on your screen here, the basic alumni library is available to all alumni that sign up at the free level. This is started by President Rogers when she came on as president. We're so thankful that this was a part of her vision. So these offerings are available to you. Now, for those who are interested in their research a little bit more, we do now offer the extended alumni library, which is absolutely outstanding. Our director of alumni library, our library services director, spent 2 years getting these databases together for you, and we're really proud of the offerings that we have. Again, go to alumni.fielding.edu to find out more information about that. Okay, that's my pitch for the Alumni Association and where you can find all of the information. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Charles McClintock, who will be here to share with you some incredible opportunities for alumni in this next year. I'll pass it over to Dr. McClintock. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Hillary, and welcome to everyone. And it's great to see so many people online. Some of you I saw a few weeks ago at session, and it's great to have such a good crowd today. Hillary's overview of the Alumni Association makes me want to join, and I don't know if I am eligible to join, but I'd like to look into it because it's got so many wonderful features. So Hillary, thanks to you and others for building that. I want to give you an overview of two opportunities or two ways in which Fielding supports alumni in their ongoing professional endeavors. First is to tell you about the Institute for Social, first is the Kipnis Endowment Fund. Diane Kipnis is a graduate of our psychology program and has been a generous donor to Fielding, including support of the library. But she also set up an endowed fund for alumni to continue to do projects that demonstrate innovation and collaboration. And this year, the endowment has available from it up to $7,000 for research or professional practice projects up to 2 years duration. And there is a deadline of February 15th. I think Hillary has been broadcasting the availability or the opening dates and application information for the Kipnis Fund Fellowship. And so I would really encourage you to apply. She's got the URL there, alumnifielding.edu news, and you'll find the details there. We're looking for projects again here that are collaborative. That is to say that the individual is working with other individuals or other organizations. And we're looking for projects that have an impact on the largest number of people in terms of the quality of their lives. So that's, we have two fellows so far who have received this award, Carrie Arnold and Larry Gebhardt. And you can go onto the ISI Fellows site and see those individuals and what their projects were like. Next, I want to talk about the Institute for Social Innovation Fellows Program. If you could bring up that slide, Hillary. There we go. That's Kipnis. Did I skip over fellows? No, there we go. Okay. So the Fellows Program offers alumni an academic partner, basically. Many of you are continuing your professional work through research, through training projects that you do, through consulting projects that you do. And wherever it might be the case that you want a partner, a university partner, we're here to work with you on that. And to help you with research, we offer support for Institutional Review Board, IRB. We offer support for external grant applications. If you're accepted as an ISI fellow, you get business cards, letterhead, website publicity for your publications, and consultative assistance with your projects. I want to call out professional development and training because I know a number of alumni do that as they're part of their consulting businesses. And if it would be helpful to you, to the clients who you do training for or continuing education for, we have a way to partner with you so that you and we can award Fielding continuing education credits and a certificate from Fielding. So the deadline for applying to be an ISI Fellows is March 15th. Again, the details are on the alumni website. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. And you can always email me if you have questions, cmcclintock@fielding.edu. So I think that's it. Hillary, do I need to look for any questions on chat, or is that at the end of the situation?
I think we're good so far. And if we have any questions regarding that, we can also take it on the end of the webinar. So
sounds good.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. So I would like to introduce next our fantastic development team. We have a Director of Development, Elena Nicholson, and before she gets on, I just want to make sure that everybody knows this is being recorded and we'll have all of this content available afterwards. So without further ado, Elena.
Hello, and thank you, Hillary, so much for the opportunity to share some updates with our wonderful alumni. Hello, my name is Elena, and I put this picture up because I wanted just to put our names with the faces. Another team member that worked with me closely is Katie Leahy. She's the one who prints gift acknowledgement letters after you make a gift to Fielding and does a lot of important work behind the scenes to make sure that we acknowledge your giving, steward it properly, and allocate the funds that you've given to Fielding in the right bucket, so to speak. And we can go to the next slide. So just wanted to share with you that our gift acceptance policy and how we receive gifts is guided by the Donor Bill of Rights, which is a document that is spearheaded by the Association of Fundraising Professionals, which is an international fundraising professional organization. Also, it's guided by Fielding's mission, vision, and values. Fielding also has a gift acceptance policy, and every gift matters, but we want to make sure that the funds we receive are according to Fielding's values and benefit Fielding. This question has come up a couple times during the last alumni gathering, so I just wanted to put it out there and share with you. We can go to the next slide. Just to share our goals in the fundraising team, our annual goal is to raise about $450,000 annually for scholarships, programs, and operations. This is an operating goal. Our aspirational goal is, of course, much higher. We raise funds for endowed and non-endowed scholarships. We support, our priority this year is to support existing scholarships, but also make sure that they grow in size. And of course, we're always looking for new supporters and opportunities to inspire you to give to Fielding. So we can go to the next slide. So just to share with you that Fielding has awarded in the last couple of fiscal years about $460,000 in scholarships to our students. We have over 49 award programs, and they're very important, especially as the cost of education rises. We want to support all of our students with opportunities to pursue their career dreams and dreams for acquiring, whether it's a master's program, certificate, or doctoral program. Alumni play a very important part in our success because 75% of donations received for Fielding come from alumni. And I can tell you that every gift matters because together they help us be successful in the long run. And just wanted to give, for example, a shout out to our wonderful campaign we had at the end of last year, First Giving Tuesday, spearheaded by our alumni Sonnet, where we had so many gifts together that for the first time, it was First Giving Day and we raised over $15,000. So just want to thank everyone for your participation and contribution. Every time the gift arrives, it's a celebration at Fielding, and we really appreciate your support. Oh, I completely forgot about that last slide. So just to showcase one of the scholarship recipients' testimonial. And if you ever give to Fielding, you will be getting testimonials like this via various mailings that you receive throughout the year. And I think maybe that's it. Thank you, Hillary.
Oh, thank you so much, Elena. I'm really excited to hear about all the fantastic work that you've been doing this last year with your team. Thank you for sharing that information. And now I am proud to introduce President Katrina Rogers. She will be sharing with us the state of the university, and she is calling in, I believe, from Washington, D.C. Is that correct?
That's correct. Welcome, everyone. Hillary, can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're all ready
Great,
to go.
just making sure. Well, thank you, everyone. Do you advance the slides or do I? There we go. Thanks. Yes, I'm calling in today from Washington, D.C. And I know that for some of our graduates that we are on the same time zone. And for those of you, I'm sure that most of you know, but 4 years ago, we started a Washington, D.C. office on the East Coast here for Fielding. And part of our strategy, which I'll come to in just a few minutes, is that we really wanted to create more of a presence here in the nation's capital. And we continue to deepen that and talk about how we can use our Washington, D.C. presence more strategically for our students and for our alumni. So the first thing I want to let you know, and I'm sure you've all seen this by now, is our new logo that you should be seeing on your screen. And this is very close to our old logo, but it was done as a point of a bit of a refresh in honor of our 45th anniversary, which just passed in 2019. So now we are on to our 50th anniversary coming right up in 2024, and really looking forward to that. You'll see that we retained our triangle, but we also wanted to make more explicit our emphasis and our focus on scholarship, on opportunity, and on community for all of our constituents who are part of Fielding. So if we can go to the next slide. What I wanted to talk to you about today is, first I wanted to remind everyone, I want to talk a little bit about our strategy and ongoing initiatives. But I wanted to talk a little bit first to remind everyone about our current programs. For some of the alumni on the call, it's just so wonderful to see so many of you here with us today. New things happen in your alma mater as you go on, and some of you may have graduated years ago now. And so just a reminder that in addition to our founding program, which is our PhD in clinical psychology, and just the last few years since I've been president, we've launched a post-baccalaureate in clinical psychology, which has gone very well. Older certificates and very popular now are neuropsychology. For those of you in the field, you know that neuropsychology is a rapidly growing part of psychology more generally. Respecializations are actually very specific to people who who are already PhDs, but they want retraining or respecialization in the field of clinical psychology. In addition, you may all remember we launched 10, almost 12 years ago now, media psychology programs that they're now part of Fielding. Newer to Fielding is our infant early childhood development. That's it's called IECD on this slide. But that was a program that we brought on. It had been actually created by renowned psychiatrist Stanley Greenspan, and he passed on. And as a result, he had this wonderful program of great students and faculty, and it didn't have a home. So we were very proud to offer a home to that doctoral program, now a master's and certificate, and it's growing and doing very well as part of our psychology program. Many of you, of course, come from leadership studies. And you can see that we have our Organization Development and Change PhD, which was a shift from our Human and Organizational Systems PhD. And that it's similar, but a little different. It's a little more focused, more specifically on the OD aspects of human and organization development. We also specify the Human Development PhD, which is one of our oldest doctoral programs at this point. And we have our Education Leadership for Change. And then we have our Masters in Organization Development and Leadership, as well as our Evidence-Based Coaching Certificate. I hope some of our alumni from those programs are here as well. We often think, since our doctoral programs are our largest programs, but we have a robust and very energetic set of graduates from our certificate and master's programs as well. So if you can go to the next slide, Hillary, thank you. So this is what we're really focused on, 2020 and beyond. And these are our current initiatives. The first is continuing to focus on building programs where we're strong in psychology, organization development, leadership, and education systems. And could pause here just for a moment. So think of the last few years, we added infant early childhood development. That is a multidisciplinary program, so very much grounded in the kind of philosophy, learning philosophy that we have as doctoral educators, multidisciplinary, specific for adult learners. The developmental aspects of learning are as important as the intellectual ones. We've added programs in areas like clinical psychology with the post-bac program. And we continue to, and we've just added a forensic certificate program, and we continue to want to look at where can we really play to the strengths that we have. And when we say play to our strengths, it's really where are the faculty most excited about the new directions in their own work, in their own fields and disciplines that we might take advantage of, and build programs that we offer students, so particularly Fielding kind of philosophy in terms of how we educate people and what the learning environment is like. Secondly, we're looking very aggressively at partnerships, growing partnerships with other institutions. I'll come back to this one in a moment, and I'm always thinking of how alumni can help do that too, because many of you are out there in other educational institutions, and maybe there's a good match. We have developed partnerships with a number of institutions over the years because of alumni in them. For many years, for instance, we've had articulation agreements with institutions such as Royal Roads. We had a number of graduates there. Before they had their PhD in particular, we had an articulation agreement with them. And then the third initiative is our Washington, D.C. work, which I mentioned before. Right now, our Washington, D.C. office houses our grant-funded programs, particularly our National Science Foundation grants. Our academic leadership development for women of color in the STEM professions is a series of leadership academies who've become known for leadership development. And we've also, through the National Science Foundation, we're the founders of a Center for the Advancement of STEM Leadership. And we have an HBCU partnership affiliate network of about 30 institutions, and HBCU stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities, from which a group of fellows come from in order to really advance their own leadership through these various academies. And that may sound like Fielding is quite prominent there, but I want to say that all of these things require partners these days, especially when you consider our relative size, which is relatively speaking smaller than other institutions, it really behooves us and it advantages us as well as the work to work with other institutions. So both of all of these initiatives have other institutional partners. In this case, specifically North Carolina A&T University and the University of Virgin Islands. And so through that partnership, we're able to then advance Fielding's reputation as researchers and as expert faculty in leadership development. We're able to advance those ideas and our vision by being able to apply jointly for funding. So that's more and more important, I think, as the 21st century unfolds. So we go to the next slide. Thank you. So what do we look for in a partner? I wanted to bring this out to the alumni because, as I said, sometimes you have written me and said, hey, have you thought about talking to this institution or the president of that institution, or here's maybe one that would be interested in a doctoral program. So we look at four things. We look at a mission alignment. Are they sort of philosophically congruent with what we care about? Part of that is to be thinking of education as a vehicle for social change. So the social justice mission of an institution is important to us. It's also the philosophy of learning around different learning models that honor and respect what an adult learner brings to the table, and also has a culture of that it's not a transactional kind of learning, but more of this developmental fundamental part of learning. That they're stable financially, as you can imagine in the sector these days. There's some institutions that struggle quite a bit, especially really tiny ones. And so it's important to us that partners have enough wherewithal, that they have the capacity to do work together, that they have advanced resources. We're always trying to push our own understanding of our resources in terms of technology, especially on the teaching and learning side. So we're finding that, partnering with other institutions, we learn a lot, they learn from us, right? And complementary offerings. So for us, we're unlikely to find that we want to partner with an institution that are, say, exclusively engineers, right? We're really interested in other institutions that maybe have different, but also they complement because they may also be focused in the social sciences. So here's some examples of some things we've done in the last couple of years. And some of you may be aware of these because you may be reading our materials, and some maybe not so much. So we have a very good partnership with the University of District Columbia. They are a public institution in the district and one of the few, and they also are a land grant, I believe. I think they're the only urban land grant college in the country, which makes it a little bit different, or was originally urban. I think there are some that have become more urban. They don't have many doctoral programs. In fact, this doctoral program that we worked with them on creating, it's only their second one. Their first one was one in computer science. So they really based this doctoral program, because it's clearly within the social sciences, it's very much predicated on the Fielding learning model, and it's an urban leadership and entrepreneurship. And it launched this past September, although we've been in partnership for a couple of years now, and some of our faculty teach those core courses. So I think it's been a really good example of the kind of partnership that we like, that we have an opportunity to share with other institutions our kind of learning as it relates to doctoral education, and they in return, they of course share some of that revenue, but even more importantly, they in turn help us get more visibility, and the more visibility that we get, the higher the value of a Fielding degree. So that's really what my purpose is in these kinds of partnerships. The second is the University of Virgin Islands. I mentioned them before as a grant partner. They also, with us, we work together on a doctoral program in creative leadership. That is their first doctoral program, and it's a similar model. They're partnered with our Master's in Organization Development and Leadership, and we teach that organizational development and leadership track. And then we also sometimes we look at partners that it doesn't work, or for whatever reason. And we did with Prescott College, the 4-year liberal arts college in Arizona, private nonprofit. it just didn't come to fruition. Some of our faculty met with their faculty. We thought at the time, would it be interesting if we actually created some kind of arrangement where they were undergraduate and we're doctoral, but we had more connection together. But just for reasons that didn't have as much to do with us, but more had to do with being in different states and being in different, being in sort of a different governance situation for them. We didn't end up partnering. And the reason I bring this one up is that, one, if you were at the winter session a few years ago where they were there, you may remember them. But two, it's the point about exploration. I think one of the things to keep in mind about initiatives for an university like Fielding is we always have to be open to exploration and to new and different understandings and different kinds of relationships. And what we need at a particular time may not be what a potential partner may need, but that's worth always the exploration, especially done with a kind of openness and excitement for what the possibilities are and what kind of work we can do together. And that's really what I see as a primary role of my office. And as your president, I'm always out looking for what are the kinds of things that we can create with other partners that really allow us to continue to fulfill our mission and our vision of ourselves as graduate educators. Let me go to the next slide. So as part of this, of course, is our strategic plan. I'm very excited to share this with the alumni because this is a new conceptualization of the strategic plan. So I'd love to get your perspectives on this and hear from you about it and about your questions. You're going to see more of this particular visualization in the coming weeks. It's time for a new strategic plan. Our strategic plan comes to fruition, or the last one in 2020. We're already feeling the sense of that was a great plan when we wrote it, but it's time for a new one. And what we, the university leadership team, wanted to do is really break down into Fielding. What are the essential elements that we either are already known for or want to strengthen at our own institution? And we wanted to show them as interlocking, interrelated concepts. So no particular order. There are 6 elements surrounding our logo that we really want to make more explicit in the strategic plan about what these are at Fielding and what makes Fielding are these distinctive elements, how to define them, how to enliven them, and what the activities around them should be. And they are research and scholarship, innovation and experimentation, teaching, learning, and assessment, social and ecological justice, diversity, equity, inclusion, and community engagement and practice. And if you think about it, every one of you has had some exposure, every one of our graduates has had some exposure to some component embedded in these elements. We may not have called it exactly that. So for example, some of our programs have a very explicit practice requirement. Others have a applied, which is another way to think about practice. There's a community element to the work that you do. This notion that scholarship is for a broader segment of society, not just for a thing in itself, although it is in fact a thing in itself. And then research and scholarship, particularly doctoral education, is focused around creating new knowledge. That sometimes can happen at the master's level. But when you are involved in dissertation writing, that's your job, is to go out and create new knowledge. And it's how do we make that case to others that the kind of work that our graduates and our faculty do are cumulatively and incrementally creating new knowledge bases and really adding to the body of knowledge that allows society that facilitates the progression of society. The innovation experimentation I mentioned before, in my role, it's about looking for new ideas, new ways of engaging, new ways to think about how institutions can work together. At other places in the institution, it can be about what are new program ideas, what are new ideas to bring into curriculum, what are new ways and forms that we can also make more real, make more visible, I should say, the quality of the work that we want to do together. Teaching, learning, and assessment, this is something that we're particularly good at. We're graduate only. We spend all of our existence focused in on what is teaching, learning, and assessment in graduate education look like? And again, that speaks to the quality of our degree. If you can measure it, if you can assess it, if you can figure out your learning, how to continue to improve the learning environment, you have very strong programs. Our social and ecological justice and diversity, equity, inclusion framing, I think these are very important aspects of fielding, from the curriculum to the institution and the way the institutional logics are organized, and how we as an organization not only see ourselves, but how we see how our graduates go out in the world. And what does it mean? What does it mean to be inclusive as a community? What is the aspiration around that? What are the things that we need to continue to work on? How do we help our graduates be skilled and develop their own abilities to be able to build inclusive environments out in the world wherever they are, and in whatever profession you're in. And then surrounding it, and we're still kind of working on this piece, are all our constituents in alphabetical order, but you'll see from alumni to trustees, right? And also all our values, from academic excellence to transformational learning, that those remain the same. Our constituents are really there and surrounding, but also making everything whole, if that makes sense. And that's the visualization of what the plan could look like. And then underpinning it all is our financial stability. So that's the concept that we're working on right now. We have shared it. I have shared it with the Board of Trustees in November, and they've agreed that this conceptually makes sense, so keep working at it. In the spring and the summer, we will be involving alumni and more conversation about it, specifically about the concepts and about what you'd like to see for fielding and ideas that you may have for us specifically to include in the plan, as well as other constituents across the institution. So more on this later, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. This last slide is really about what I've observed, how our alumni have engaged in these last several years, since I've been president, before that as provost, and before that when I was with the Human Organization Development Program. And where I think alumni, just to say there are a lot of things that alumni can do, and I know that you're eager to do, but participate in our strategic planning survey. That'll be coming out. So pay attention to that. I know that we get great survey engagement, which we really appreciate and we're very honored by, and that we use what you say to make change at the institution. So know that we honor that. Get involved. We have consuls, the Inclusion Council, the Sustainability Advisory Council is new. Both of these bodies advise my office. Hillary can keep you informed as to when we do a call out for getting more people involved. Also sign up at alumni.fielding.edu. I'm sure Hillary has already said that on this call. You can sign up for free and you get lots of information that way. Indicate willingness to do things. If you want to be part of an anchor for a new student orientation or want to get involved in the programs, you can write the program leader. If you're not sure who to write to, you can write me at president@fielding.edu and I can refer you to the right person. So feel free to connect when you want to connect, and know that we're always here for you. Thank you very much, Hillary. I think we're going to questions now. I want to say thank you. I saw a chat. Terry mentioned about University of Laverne. Thank you. I know the president there a little bit, and they're a really, really interesting organization, really good university. And Steve Wallace put in an article, a reference. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So if anyone's interested in asking questions, we do have the Q&A function button on Zoom. We had a couple come through that we were able to answer via text. But if you have any questions for Elena, for Dr. McClintock, or myself, now is a great time to do so. Otherwise, we'd probably answer all of your questions if we didn't get any questions in the chat box. Like I said, we will be posting this webinar on alumni.fielding.edu. And as President Rogers indicated, we welcome your email, we welcome your feedback, and we just want to say thank you to all of the alumni that have participated in a variety of ways, and we value you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to more to come in 2020. And it looks like there is a question from Julie for Elena. And this is a great question. We always appreciate this. Is what is the address to send donations to Fielding?
Thank you so much. You can always find the information at giving.fielding.edu, but you can also mail your donations to our main office, 2020 De La Vina Street in Santa Barbara. You need to make the check always to Fielding Graduate University, but you can attach a note or write a memo, a scholarship fund or a program that you wish to support. You can always put care of Development Office or Elena Nicholson. But anyway, if you just send it to Fielding Graduate University, it will be routed to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you, Elena. I'm just seeing some really nice comments on the chat. So Dean, NSO stands for New Student Orientation. Might also stand for foundation. So we ask alumni to participate as anchors with new students. We call them anchors. They're really like a guiding post to be with the new students during some in-person sessions. So if you're ever interested in that, you can just write president@fielding.edu and we'll get you to the right person. Thanks, Cynthia, for your comment about developments. It is exciting. Fielding's at a really interesting place, I think, in our evolution, in our own thinking about how we as social scientists can really engage our learning environments, not only for the specific graduates, for more broadly for society. What are the things we really want to participate in and help forward and have an impact? Sue, thanks for your comment. John Robinson wrote, not bad for a Milford girl. So John and I recently discovered that he knows my hometown well and comes from the area in Milford, Connecticut. Jean Lee, thanks for being here. Jean Lee is also on our Sustainability Advisory Council, which is just kicking off. And then I see Paige and Don. You are all wonderful colleagues, and I'm so glad to know so many of you. Any other things, Hillary?
Well, I think we're coming up to the end of our time here, and there may be a couple of other questions that are coming through, which we'll make sure and answer. I'll email you directly on some of the questions that may be coming through. But what I'd like to do is just a huge thanks to everybody, not only for showing up on this call, but thank you to Dr. McClintock. Elena, thank you so much for sharing your great information. President Rogers, we appreciate you sharing all this information. We're excited for 2020. Again, please feel to contact me if you have any questions at alumnirelations@fielding.edu. Wishing you all a fantastic 2020 and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Great. We'll do this again soon. Bye, everyone.